FEDRA. So when everything went to hell with the cordyceps outbreak, FEDRA basically became the government by default. They're the ones who threw up quarantine zones, herded survivors behind walls, and kept some semblance of order through military control. Rations, curfews, shoot-first policies, the whole authoritarian package. And look, it's easy to call them tyrants. People inside those walls certainly do. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Those early days were complete chaos. And FEDRA's cold, calculated approach probably saved more lives than any idealistic alternative would have. They traded humanity's freedom for its survival. Whether that bargain was worth it? That's the question, isn't it? Fireflies. The Fireflies popped up because, well, not everyone was okay with living under a military boot. They wanted something more, a real society again, maybe even a vaccine. Look for the light became their whole thing, drawing in anyone who still had hope left. The problem is, hope doesn't win wars. So they turned to guerrilla tactics, bombing, stuff that honestly looks a lot like terrorism from certain angles. It's that classic ends justify the means situation. They genuinely believe they're saving humanity, but the people caught in their crossfire might disagree. Hunters. Now, hunters are different. There's no manifesto, no grand vision. When QZs fell apart, and plenty did, some survivors just went feral. Pittsburgh, Kansas City, places like that became hunting grounds. Outsiders aren't people to them. They're walking supply caches. Tourists, they call them. It's honestly terrifying how fast the social contract evaporates when there's nothing left to eat. These groups prove that civilization is thinner than we'd like to admit. Jackson. Jackson is weird because it actually works. Like, genuinely works. It's this community in Wyoming that managed to build something resembling a real town. Farms, patrols, a council, even schools for the kids. They run on trust and shared labor instead of fear. Pretty remarkable, all things considered. But here's what people don't always talk about. Jackson's peace comes at a cost. Armed patrols, closed borders. They can't save everyone outside those walls, and they know it. They've made their choice about who gets protected. Silver Lake. David's group up north is disturbing, to put it mildly. On the surface, they look like any other struggling community. Families, faith, everyone just trying to get through another winter. David himself comes across as this caring leader type, but something's very wrong there. When the game runs out and winter drags on, they resort to things I'd rather not spell out. It's a dark look at what happens when desperate people follow a charismatic figure who's willing to rationalize the unthinkable. WLF. The Washington Liberation Front, Wolves, most people call them, they're fascinating because of what they became versus what they started as. Originally, freedom fighters who kicked FEDRA out of Seattle. Noble enough. But power changes things. Now they've got a stadium, crops, an actual army, training programs. Life's pretty good if you're on the inside. The catch? They've developed this intense us versus them mentality that borders on paranoid. Their war with the Seraphites consumes everything. Liberators turned into the very thing they fought against. Classic, really. Scars. Speaking of which, the Seraphites, or Scars as the WLF calls them, are a whole other beast. They believe the outbreak was punishment for humanity's sins, particularly our dependence on technology. So they've gone back to basics. Bows, forest camps, these creepy whistling signals. Within their own community, there's actually something almost peaceful about it. Structure, meaning, belonging. But cross them, question their prophet's teachings, that's when the ritualistic violence comes out. Faith as both salvation and weapon. Rattlers. And then there's the Rattlers down in Santa Barbara. These guys are just the worst, honestly. No pretense of ideology, no greater cause. They're slavers. They capture people, work them to death, and live comfortably off the suffering. They even chain up infected as guard dogs. It's exploitation stripped of any justification. Pure cruelty as a business model. If you wanted to see what humanity looks like with every last bit of conscience removed, here it is.